Be here and thanks for the invitation. Okay, it's much easier this way. At first I have to say, before replying that I'm very happy to be here because Kuressaares is a winning city with my home city, Vammala. Or it's nowadays Sastavala because we are changing communities, but still Vammala. And I just saw the sign when we were there with Mika and Erkki that they said that Kuressaares, Vammala, 487 kilometers, so I'm not too far away from home. And going back to your question, it's so that vocational training is very important in my community, and I see also as a work as a MP that it's very important that we are developing this sector. That's very important part of how our labor markets are working, and so I'm very pro for that. And also when I'm looking from my own community point of view, it is so that those people who are working there, many of them has been trained in our own vocational school, and that's important. My topic is mostly going to about labor markets in Finland, about how we are trying to tackle unemployment, and about labor-oriented immigration. And the last one is also a high level on the political agenda because elections are coming in 2 months. But at first, one overhead about some economical facts about Finland. Finland is an open market economy, and we are very dependent on our export sector. About 45% of our money comes from the export, and it's mainly export industry and services which are connected to the export industry. So it was also so that we got a very bad hit because of the financial crisis. Luckily, Finnish banks and companies were rather in good shape before the crisis, so there were no big bankrupts, and we managed to get through. But as you can see in my last point in this overhead, before the crisis, the national debt of Finland was rather low. It was 28% of GDP, one of the lowest in European Union. I know that in Luxembourg is lower and also Estonia are lower, but it was one of the lowest. But it's going, allow me, rising up to 60 or even more. I'm not thinking it is going much more than 60 because the 60 is a European Union rule, and it's a Finnish attitude that every time we are following the European Union rules. So we have to, in the next parliament season, we have to be, the economic is in a very high level, and how we can keep the budget in balance will be the big question. But like I said, it's also interesting that the Finnish households, half of them has no debt, but the other half has more loans than ever before. Although that we had about 20 years of good economic situation before the crisis. Here I have something about what is our national reform program on employment issues comparing to EKEÜ 2020. I'm going to all of these questions more carefully. So here what happened in 2009, the economic crisis hit, and our production fell by 8% in 2009. That was the biggest ever in Finnish history, not including the year 1918 when we had a civil war. So it was a very big, but I will say that the majority of the Finnish people have not noticed it, because it only concentrated to the export sector, export industries, and those people who are getting money from that sector. But it was huge. The government responded rapidly by a stimulus package, which included financial enterprise, public investments, and labor market and training measures. And we have done it quite well because the unemployment rate is now 7.3, so it's back in the same level it was before the crisis. So that's quite good achievement. But there was also many local problems because in some communities, of course, these crises were much harder, especially in those places where they closed the paper mills. And there was a big problem how to find a new work for those who have lost their jobs. They have to shift their occupation, so there was a big need for the adult vocational education. There were also many of those who didn't have any. They have worked many years in the paper mills, but they really didn't have any vocational education earlier. So they needed to go to training afterwards. And we had a special program for them helping those ones who didn't have any title or any degree earlier. Now, what is happening right now is the GDP growth is going to the right direction, but the estimation is that the growth is less than 3%. In the medium term, the growth will become slower because the structural changing, aging of the population, and of course the location of manufacturing is a good question that how we will compete with Asian countries, for example, and all of that will mean that the economic growth will be slower than it was earlier, and that is a big challenge for the government, of course. The aging, I have later on some overheads which shows that how quickly our population is aging and what it means for the labor market. Unemployment will continue to decrease slowly. There are also some problems in that, and I go that for more deeper. So it is normally affecting unemployment, at least in Finland, that when the crisis comes, it can grow very quickly, but it decreases very slowly.